Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Power Vacuum. I'm your host Belmont, and I'm coming at you with what many people in the video game world are regarding widely as a bad move. From Reuters, exclusive, Sony is in talks to buy media powerhouse behind Elden Ring. New York, Tokyo, November 19th. I don't know why I'm reading that. Sony is in talks to acquire Kadokawa Corporation, the Japanese media powerhouse behind the Elden Ring game. Two sources familiar with the matter said, as the technology giant looks to add to its entertainment portfolio. I'm going to pause real quick. I really wish we could get back to the standards of journalistic integrity to where your sources had to be named in order to publish something as a statement of fact like this, because this is all we get now. Sources familiar. Who are they? Like, if you're willing to leak information, put your fucking name on it. Alright, back to this mini rant over. Now, the talks between the two sides are ongoing, and if successful, a deal could be signed in the coming weeks, the sources say. Kadokawa's shares closed up 23% at their daily limit. Its market capitalization was around $2.7 billion prior to the Reuters report. Sony shares closed up 0.6%. Sony declined to comment. Kadokawa said it cannot comment. Sony already has a 2% stake in Kadokawa, and the stake in Kadokawa controlled From Software, the developer of the hit fantasy action role-playing game. Do they mean Elden Ring from the title? You got to put that back in the body, guys. You can't just skip that information. The critically acclaimed title, and they keep going without naming it, is a collaboration between veteran game director Hidetaka Miyazaki and Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin. Yes, because George will do anything to not finish his series. I'm pretty sure this man is hoping he will die before he gets a chance to finish it, just so he can be like, well, it's the publisher's problem now, and I don't have to listen to fans complain anymore. The game, which depicts an atmospheric world where players battle monsters and quest to repair the Elden Ring, has sold 25 million units and been widely praised. The title is available on platforms including Sony's PlayStation. An expansive Shadow of the Erdtree sold 5 million units in the 3 days after its release in June. Really? Damn, that's a lot for a DLC, for a game that's that old. I think it just got nominated for Game of the Year too, which is it shouldn't be. They really need to make a DLC category for Game of the Year, like best DLC release this year, because a DLC is not a game unless it so dramatically changes the game that it's an entirely new game in and of itself. Was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon considered DLC, or was it a separate game? I can't even remember. But that was so dramatically different that you could be like, hey, it's a whole new game. Kadokawa began as a publisher in 1945, but has expanded into games, anime, events, and figures with franchises such as ReZero, in which a teenage boy is summoned to a fantasy world. Yes. Very popular. Very, very popular. X person transported to X world. What is it? Ikesai? I don't know how they pronounce it. I believe that's it, though. Other franchises include Delicious in Dungeon, a manga series adapted into an anime about adventures exploring dungeons and eating monsters they encounter. Really? That's kind of weird. Known as the inventor of the Walkman, Sony has transformed from an electronics manufacturer into an entertainment and technology juggernaut spanning movies, music, games, and chips. Lovable characters and intellectual property can live for 30, 50, or 100 years. Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said last year, that's something we want to make investments in for sustainable growth. Sony's focus includes anime, whose growth worldwide has been fueled by the spread of streaming services and greater familiarity with Japanese culture. Anime's growth recently has been fueled by the fact that what people call DEI, or forced ideology, is ruining Western animation and Western stories, and anime is not afraid to continue with sexualized characters, ridiculous, over-the-top stories, things that other people might deem offensive, and they don't care. They're just telling a story. It's fiction. Get the fuck over it. And that has caused it to explode. Like, manga exploded after Disney effectively destroyed Marvel, and then DC followed suit, because while DC has a ton of original characters, they are just chasing Marvel's coattails for years now. Years, almost 2 decades. DC's been a follower and not a leader. It used to be a leader. I mean, they used to flip-flop, you know. One comic would lead, the other would follow, then the other one would lead, the other one would follow. Multiple times in the histories of Marvel and DC have they been offered to be purchased by the other company, but neither of them wanted to purchase their competitor for the fear of their failing comics would drag down the company overall. Almost ridiculous. Brief time when they combined their characters for what I used to call amalgam, but is amalgam comics. But I like calling it amalgam because it sounds like a ridiculous word that doesn't make sense, and it sounds like something separate. And when you say amalgam, you're like, oh, well, that's just a regular dictionary word. But I guess Marvel is just a regular dictionary word. But it's owned it now, to the point when people say Marvel, they think Marvel Comics. They don't think, oh, I'm stunned by something's beauty. Where was I? I digress. Greater familiarity. Okay, the group has also had success in extending the reach of its own franchises, with the Last of Us games series adapted into a popular HBO drama. Semi-popular. Wasn't that popular. Sony, which has market valuation of around $114 billion in January, scrapped the $10 billion merger of its India arm with Z Entertainment Enterprises, saying some conditions were not met. Kadokawa's business has been buffeted in recent years. In June, it was hit by a cyber attack that resulted in a data leak and affected business activities. 2 years ago, Suguhiko Kadokawa, the son of the company's founder, resigned as chairman after he was indicted on bribery charges related to the Tokyo Olympics. Well, I'm going to have to go read about that. That sounds wild. And that's it. Get the latest news. What? That's how you end it, Reuters? With this fucking cliffhanger about bribery charges related to the Olympics? Dude, fucked up. But yeah, I have seen a lot of people talking about this, which is why I'm doing a video, and it seems that almost no fans of the games, of anime, of the stories being put out are happy. People on X aren't happy. People on 4chan aren't happy. People on Reddit are real not happy. Just because Sony recently has a reputation for ruining shit. Like, just they don't put the effort. I think they're spread too thin. In my opinion, I think they own too many properties. I don't know at what point, I should say, does Sony get busted for being a monopoly. You know, Disney can no longer acquire any more media properties, or they're going to get busted for being a monopoly. That's why the Fox merger took so long. I don't know how international monopoly roles work. Disney and Fox were American companies, so they were legislated here in the States. This could have separate rules for international monopoly. There might not even be rules for international monopoly. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But a lot of people aren't happy about this. Maybe Kadokawa Industries, or Corporation, I should say. It's not Industries. Maybe they'll listen to the fans and reject this merger. Maybe Sony won't give them what they want, or maybe Sony's going to win it, take everything, and screw over yet another gaming company, screw over yet another series of animes and mangas, and, you know, really screw the pooch as they've been doing in the past recent history. But yeah, there you go. Straight from Reuters. Possible merger. I don't see why they would merger, because Elden Ring is one of the biggest games that they have had from Software. and it seems like, I don't know, selling 25 million units is what they said, right? And then another 5 million units 3 days after the release of the DLC. That's huge for a DLC. 5 million units in 3 days, huge. Like, but only time will tell with this, and we're just gonna have to wait with our ears to the ground and see what we get. But that's all I have for this video. Belmont out.